Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Thursday, November 5th, right before midnight. Hello. Snow models are showing big, but it's not just the models. It's the reporting. The big story, incoming storm could drop 2 feet of snow in the San Juan Mountains. Weather watch in effect Friday night to late Monday. Keep calm. It's certainly boom time. This site can't be reached. Ha! Look at the picture. It's a winter wonderland. Winter storm watch has been issued from Friday to Monday for the South San Juans and other Juans, as an approaching storm is expected to drop up to 2 feet of snow in the high country, just not in Colorado, in Montana, in other areas. And we're going to get to that in just a minute. Hello, Sierras. First big storm coming to your region. Take a look at this. That's the flute. And a big boom to one of our viewers who sent me that. Pretty damn nice. Now, the watch takes in effect Friday night and lasts until Monday. That's the storm watch, the snow watch, the ho-ho-ho watch. Wind gusts could reach 55 miles per hour in high elevation areas, the Weather Service said. Towns in the winter storm watch include Silverton, just north of here, Hesperus, Rico, Ouray, T-Ride, and Lake City. Hello, San Juans. In Durango, rain is expected to start Friday night and continue into Saturday, as well as here in Pagosa. Snow is possible Saturday night to Sunday and Monday in our regions, the Weather Service said. Snow forecasting website Open Snow is calling for bolder snow totals, saying more than 3 feet of snow could fall in the San Juans. Oh, keep calm. It is, well, grand solar minimum time. Nothing there. Drastic temperature drop. Heavy snow headed to areas of Wyoming. Why this is not coming up? This is our lead story. They know it. They just don't want to blow it. 2 to 3 feet of snow brings dangerous conditions to Colorado's highest peaks. Are you peaking? Well, we hope you are. Look at those pictures. Sunset on a snowy Wilson Peak in the San Juans near T-Ride. Late season hikers, be warned. It's time to start breaking out the winter gear. Snowshoes, ice creepers, and other sleepers. And this is still down. themotherlode.com. Let's check out the models because we can only do this once. Here's your Saturday. Whoa. That snow is moving into the Sierras Saturday as well as Oregon. Big time. Take a look at the totals in Oregon. So as you wake up, and here's your Friday afternoon, Friday evening, midnight, Saturday morning, it's going to be snowing in Oregon in the high country for most of the day. Little bits of touches in Washington State, but then the snow moves into the Sierras Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, Sunday morning. So there's a significant event, especially here, midday Sunday, late Sunday into Monday. And that's the same type of event that's going to be building in our region. So by Monday commute time, this is the situation. If you're in Montana, well, it's winter. And that other site still isn't up. Western storm with multiple impacts. Now, they only have a few winter storm watches and warnings in this weird, dark, dreary blue here in Colorado and up in almost all of Montana. But a couple of strong Pacific storms will bring widespread lower elevation rain, heavy mountain snow, and gusty winds to the western states. And this map right here is going to be increasing ever more every 24 hours. And then tomorrow when I show it to you, it's going to be completely covered in winter storm warnings and watches. And it's not winter, by the way. Heavy mountain snow and gusty winds to the western states. Dry winds ahead of the front will produce critical fire weather threats for the eastern Sierra Nevada mountains, all through Nevada and up here through western Utah, as well as through the central Craton. There could be some wildfire activity in, well, say it ain't so, Kansas and Nebraska. Click those heels. Hello. Tropical moisture in southern Florida may produce flooding in advance of Aydah, who had made a horrendous landfall on Honduras in Central America, killing many people and devastating those areas. That's just going to make a whip around here, come through the Gulf, up through Cuba, and then slam. Well, probably not slam. It's going to be extremely reduced. But we'll get to that. 18-year-old woman dies scuba diving at Glacier National Park. Lot to be considered here. This is a 500-mile or 500-foot deep lake, and it's my opinion that some unexperienced divers that aren't certified. Now I'm certified Nowie and Patty, but these guys I don't think were certified, and they probably dove below 100 feet. They went down to 150. They realized it was a lot of, wow, it's really hard to move down here, and they came up too quick, and she died and he lived, but he had to go into a decompression chamber. This is one of the, it's not in the story, so I don't know if that's what happened. But look, if you want to scuba dive, because scuba diving equipment is so cheap, and you don't have a scuba diving license, don't do it. You'll kill yourself. Because it's so easy to dive below 60 feet, and then if you don't know you're down in decompression zones, and you just sit down there for an hour or so, looking at the fish, and you come up, it's a very bad situation. Do not get bent. Please, if you want to scuba dive, take a class and get certified as an open water diver. It's not that hard. It takes a weekend, maybe 16 hours of your life to prevent the most horrendous death that you could ever imagine, which is what happened here, unfortunately. So just a little tidbit. Florida on the path of tropical storm Aydah, and that's Zeta, Eta, Theta, Iota, Kappa, Lambda, Mu, Nu, Xi, Omicron. We're in the Greek alphabet at this point. Now, Aydah already made landfall. It could be the longest lived storm in history if it redevelops. Like the infinity symbol, it went over in Central America. It's going to come back off and come back up through Cuba and come back around and maybe come back up through the Panhandle. It could be around for a month. How about them apples? We're going to keep a close eye on it. Same people keeping a close eye on it are over at the National Hurricane Center, where Tropical Storm Aydah, right before Theta, Iota, Kappa, Lambda, Mu, Nu, Xi, Omicron, is sitting at 35 mile per hour as a tropical depression. And let's check the cone of depression. Now, if you don't know how to use the National Hurricane Center map here, you just come over to Aydah, you click on it, and then you left click it. If you just give it that little tippy touch, that's going to give you the information you need. You see the circle is now still a circle, but blackened. And you come up and look at the tab, and you'll see a little spinny thing. So it is spinning, but it doesn't mean we're winning. And it's definitely not shifting over to any other page. But the page we want was the warning cone static images. So you can always come down here and click on any one of these advisories to hopefully give you the information you're looking for. Now, why I can't upload this is beyond me. We do have a video parse coming up shortly, and that might be the reason for the season. So we'll get back to that. Not important. Aydah does not look like a major threat to southern Florida. It looks like just a tropical depression with a lot of rain. Nothing like intensifying from Cat 0, Cat 1 to Cat 4 in 24 hours like it did in Central America. It's going to be a reduced storm with just minor winds and minor effects. So there's that. Now, major effects coming up on the northern East Coast as cold-stunned sea turtles are rescued from Cape Cod beaches. This is not a new phenomenon. This has started happening. In fact, it peaked back in 2014. But there have been huge amounts of these cold-stunned animals all the way up and down the East Coast, including turtles to the north, manatees to the south. Now, this is a composite effect of the grand solar minimum shifting Atlantic currents and the waning magnetosphere. So these animals are using magnetic positioning to take them to the regions, and it's bringing up the cold waters. It's also preventing them from moving south into the warmer waters because they're all magnetically fixated. Now, if you've been looking at this, that's definitely a native flute, and we may just get to play that sometime tonight, but it's anybody's guess. 9 minutes, 28 seconds in. Seismic update. No quakes of note, thankfully. So there's that. Worldwide volcano news update. There are several things to report today, including moderate to minor activity in most volcanoes that are erupting, about 35 to 40 currently on Earth, which is pretty normal. Anyone saying otherwise is either a charlatan or someone that didn't do their due diligence. When we get above 45 erupting volcanoes, we're in a moderate uptick. If there are 50 or more volcanoes worldwide erupting, then we need to start looking at the procedures. Yes, but let's talk about the uptick worldwide. That's about 35 to 40 earthquakes are now active. We have new activity in Villarica with steam and gas. And the most important thing I want to show you here is Merapi volcano. We know well about that. It just blasted off at VEI-23 recently in central Java. The volcano alert has been raised to level 3 because of some seismic unrest. And that's not all. Barren Island volcano in the Indian Ocean in India. Explosive activity been happening for the last 48 to 72 hours. And you can see the plume there. So there is definitely an uptick in volcanoes worldwide, although albeit moderate. Now let's talk about solar cycle 25. Let's keep it alive. And in order to do it correctly, let's just give it a little bit of a, let's just do a little. And that is our Solar Cycle 25 AR 2781 intro on the F sharp native flute. Now we're looking currently at the progression of active region 2781, which is actually a sunspot, a very significant one. And the mainstream and other outlets are reporting at least 7 spots in the region. And we can clearly see this one with an umbra and a penumbra that's very well pronounced. Less pronounced in this jiggity region, but let's count the black spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're saying 7. They might be including one of these regions. But there are about 7, 8, maybe 12 sunspots in this region, which is a huge uptick since cycle 24. And here we're looking at the HMI intensity gram. Here, this is the magnetic mixing. You can see negative, positive, negative. And there is some slight mixing, but this baby is being kept at beta. And if you want more information, I implore you to go over to solarham.net to get your fix on solar science. Now let's come over to the GOES X-ray flux and see what the sunspot's been doing over the recent days. About 30 hours ago, almost an M flare. This is a C8, C9 flare kicked off from that region on the sun, but we've had been at extremely enhanced activity up in the C range continuously for the last 32 hours. Welcome to Solar Cycle 25. Yes, and the failure of the grid coming soon. Let's discover solar wind. And you can see the BZ shifted here about 12 to 18 hours ago. Phi angle shifted. Sun to Earth, now back Earth to Sun. It's getting a little jiggy, and the density has increased. And like snow on a shovel, as the density increases, there's a lag time, and the solar wind increases. Now above and sitting around 500 kilometers per second, we should be getting some KP activity and maybe moderate geomagnetic storm or instability in the next 24 hours. Now let's talk about some lies in the media. They've been telling you for decades that the Arctic is going to melt, and the reason they can do it is because they're fraudulent. Similar to the election and the vote count, this is true fraud in science. What you're looking at is the U.S. Interactive Arctic Map, Charctic, or whatever they call it, and it is the only site that everyone goes that is a warmist or concerned about the Arctic ice in the U.S., the Interactive Arctic Sea Ice Graph, showing. Now let's just get to the data points here in the fraud. Here is November 3rd. That's just 2 days ago. This is their data point, which came out yesterday, and it's showing 7.23 million square kilometers of ice extent. And it's a record. It's unprecedented. The media is reporting on it. But if you go to European sources yesterday, we can see 8.1 million square kilometers of ice as the extent coming from a German portal. Now, the discrepancy is almost 20%. 20% lies on the American site versus the facts over on the German site. 20%. Now, if you add the 20% to this graph, it brings it up right into multi-decadal norms, which is they do not want you to see that. And so, just like they don't want you to see Trump winning the election. Which means if we come over to this, now we're over in the Danish Meteorological Institute's data, and that's showing normal Arctic ice. Almost the entire Arctic is covered with ice at this point, as it should be. And it's going to be building for 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 more months into record territories. And we'll keep a close eye on it. Just like Greenland today, building in record territories, gaining 7 gigatons of ice just 12 hours ago. Crickets from the mainstream and Mary Greeley, as she tells us the Yellowstone's going to erupt for the 13th year in a row. It's got to be getting old for them. Now, a magnificent burst from within our galaxy has been reported. I know you heard about it. It's been all over the media for 2 days. A suite of radio antennas, including those making up the Caltech's STARE-2, which is a survey for transient astronomical radio emissions, too, together with other ground and space-based observatories, have captured overwhelming evidence to help unlock the mysterious cause of cosmic blast known as FRBs. The only problem is that everything they describe in this article is a fairy tale. It's made up and it can't be proven. So, according to them, whoever they are, these ultra-fast radio flashes, first discovered in 2007, are known to originate from distant galaxies. But now one is in ours. So everyone's like, aliens? No. According to them, they claim that until now, no one could say with certainty what was causing them. But because this one's happening in our galaxy, we could just go look at it. And we did. So we went and looked at it. And researchers now are showing that they have come up with an answer. That these fast radio bursts are coming from magnetars. Now, magnetar is the biggest fairy tale as a black hole or anything else. Dark matter, dark energy, anything we can't see, but we can make a fairy tale up, that's what this is. A magnetar is a spinning stellar remnant. So a giant star explodes, it's all gone, but somehow the core remains after the star explodes and it's all gone. The core remains. That premise alone is the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard. So you blow something up, and after it goes away, a more powerful version of it remains. Yeah, I think they got the science really wrong on this. Cosmology is dead until they adopt plasma cosmology, and they realize that these are just pinch points on maybe a Z pinch in a current flow, which is just moving around and re-expressing itself in different ways. And you could take a Z-pinch and make it a gigantic star and compress it back down into a stellar core, which they're claiming this is, without exploding the star. Or because when you blow something up, it's typically not there. So to say you blew something up and then there's a better version of it, more compact, remaining, is really a stupid premise based on your traditional model. It's impossible, in fact. So not only do they claim impossible things based on their own model, they claim impossible things that support other models that they don't claim. Nature of science. It's a quagmire of conceptual complexities. And in plain English, for the sheeple, that means bullshit. So let's take the bullshit to the next level and let's let them tell you about their fairy tale, shall we?
April 2020. Astronomers detected an unusually bright and powerful radio signal, never before recorded in our home galaxy. The source is a magnetar, a type of compact object with the strongest magnetic fields in the cosmos. Like pulsars and neutron stars, magnetars are the crushed cores left behind when a massive star explodes, but their super strong magnetic fields put them in a class by themselves. The fields are up to 1,000 times stronger than typical neutron stars, and over 10 trillion times stronger than a refrigerator magnet.
Holy macaroni!
They can rip molecules apart from thousands of miles away. distort the shapes of atoms and store enormous amounts of energy. On April 27th, the Magnetar, named SGR 1935, produced a rapid-fire storm of short, powerful X-ray bursts that lasted hours. The activity, first spotted by Swift, was also monitored by NASA's Fermi Gamma Ray Space Telescope and the NICER X-ray telescope on the International Space Station, along with other space missions. As the storm wound down early on April 28th, NICER recorded some 200 X-ray bursts in just 20 minutes. Later that day, SGR 1935 fired off another X-ray burst. This time, though, it was accompanied by something new, a powerful pulse of radio waves, lasting 1,000th of a second. CHIME, a radio telescope in British Columbia, led by several Canadian universities, discovered the signal and determined it came from the vicinity of SGR 1935. Another experiment, called STARE-2, and operated by Caltech and NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, saw an even brighter signal at different radio wavelengths. Since 2007, astronomers have been trying to understand the sources of powerful millisecond radio signals called fast radio bursts seen from other galaxies. Magnetars have been prominent suspects. The duration and energy release of SGR 1935's radio signal is closer to fast radio bursts than any other source. For the first time, astronomers saw a magnetar in our own backyard produce a signal only previously seen in other galaxies. The discovery strengthens the case that magnetars are responsible for at least some fast radio bursts. Data from NICER and Fermi on X-ray bursts at the end of the storm showed that they differed from the one that coincided with the radio signal. This event's characteristics set it apart from the other eruptions, and further study may provide clues about how it also powered the radio burst. Radio waves from normal pulsars originate high above their surfaces. Exactly where and how, we don't know. A big eruption could launch a cloud of plasma to high enough that a radio burst could form. Never before have astronomers seen a fast radio burst so close to home. It's just one more reason to watch the skies and to keep tabs on the strongest magnets in the universe.
Oh, God, that was good. That was good. I mean, that was good. That's like fairy tales for adults. It's amazing. I love watching that shit. Anyway, let's get to some facts. Study. This is archaeology, anthropology, geology, and that all equals science, in my opinion. This particular paper especially proves that we were not recently hunter-gatherers and just became civilized people 6,000 years ago in Mesopotamia, etc., etc. All those books are shite and lies, simply based on this one premise. At least 5 dog lineages existed before the Younger Dryas event and during it. That existed 11,000 years ago. Do you know that 12,000 years ago we had a mass extinction on the Earth? So these 5 lineages made it through that mass extinction. They weren't just rapidly bred after the Younger Dryas event. They were already on Earth, and maybe some of them went extinct. There could have been 10, 12 dog species prior to the Younger Dryas event, which means advanced cultures were able, yes, to domesticate dogs in multiple lineages before we came up with the rocket dachshund and all the other dumb shit. So those are facts. Bring them to your archaeologists and anthropologists in your undergraduate school. Bring them into your high school class, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, especially to your undergraduate teachers, and say, how in the world did we domesticate dogs for 6,000, 7,000 years before we learned how to farm? And does that make any sense? People will say, yeah, they used them for hunting. So hunters and gatherers were hunting animals using dogs? That sounds pretty advanced to me. And they also were manipulating genetics and domesticating animals, but they didn't know how to farm 7,000 years before domesticated animals? Something is wrong with this picture. And it even gets wronger. And I love to bring you the wrongest. 13 scientists say in a real journal that there is a black hole at the center of the Earth. Now, I'm not opposed to this. I'm more leaning towards a plasmoid or some type of rotating energetic area like a Z-pinch, but a black hole. And I showed this to Leah, and she's like, well, wouldn't that mean the whole Earth would get sucked into the center of the Earth? Yeah, based on what they say about black holes, yeah, that would be happening. Or if you journey to the center of the Earth, you get sucked into the hole. Just get transmuted out into a different universe. Now, popular mechanics is a shit factory of sharticles. But in this case, they're pointing out the ridiculous nature of an actual paper in a journal. Here's the paper. And it comes from PubMed, of all places. Apparently, you can publish anything on PubMed. True or false? But here is the title. I'm going to read it for you, and then your head can explode, and then you can spend all night, because I'm going to give you the links to this baby down below. Formation of neural circuits in an expanded version of Darwin's theory. What the hell does that mean? Nothing. Effects of DNAs. Listen to this. It's not even sentences. Effects of DNAs, deoxynucleic acids, in extra dimensions and within the Earth's core on neural networks. Many people are claiming this was written by AI and that the article, the scientists listed are made up. But all of these scientists have other papers and references. So this is real. This is really where we are in science. That a paper in PubMed, which is a medical journal, is claiming. Now, how does this even relate? That there is a black hole at the center of the Earth in a medical journal. Formation of neural circuits in an expanded version of Darwin's theory. Effects of DNAs in extra dimensions and within the Earth's core and neural networks. In this paper, Inspiring Darwin's Theory, we propose a model which connects evolutions of neural circuits with evolutions of cosmos. In this model, in the beginning, there are some closed strings which decay into two groups of open strings. Ding-dings. Now, what that means for you and I is nothing. And what it means for science is nothing. And what it means for humanity is nothing. And what it means for anyone is confusion, which means nothing. Now, do you feel lost? Because I am. And I have been on the path to enlightenment for over a decade. And I'm so lost. It's like I hit some kind of a exponential down curve. All this false information, everything pointing in the wrong direction. I want you all to think about how complicit you've become, how duped you are by the society you live in, how controlled you are by the square you hold in your hand. Now, the beauty is I don't even have a phone near me because I hate phones. For 6 years, I've gotten further and further away. I don't even know what the cell phone is for anymore. But the exact opposite has happened to the population. They're all relying on that square to stare in. They want to stare in a square. And that square gives them all the information that they care about. Well, my square I'm holding is a business card from the Crestone Energy Fair, from the organizers. This square is important. Look how it's glowing. This is filled with information. It's just a piece of paper. And when I stare into it, I can create my own ideas, and those are the important ones. There's a way to opt out of this insane society that you live in, of disinformation, misinformation, and division. And it's to simply opt out. I've been talking about this for 6 years. You can opt out of the world you live in America. And you just need to get rural. Get out of Dodge. Come to a place like the Four Corners region of the U.S. And you will quickly find that you're surrounded by like-minded people. It doesn't matter if they're Democrat or Republican. They all think like you do. We all have hundreds of rolls of toilet paper, 3 years of food. We're all self-sufficient. We all have plows and heavy equipment, and we can make roads and get her done. And if you don't have the resources to do what I can do, you could just come over as a neighbor and say, hey, Diamond, can you clear my driveway? I'll say, sure. Can you give me a dozen eggs? Done deal. There's no interest. There's no abatement. There's no poll watching. There's just good people doing good stuff for others so we can get it done together. This is the way of the world. It doesn't have to be the way they're telling you. It doesn't have to be a system of monitoring, checks and balances. Some people are talking about the government actually cataloging every single calorie that each individual intakes. That's far off in the future. That's not happening tomorrow. And that probably will never happen ever, based on what the sun's doing now. We've already predicted that all of these advanced neural networks and systems are going to fail in just 3 or 4 years, based on the waning magnetosphere and the increased solar activity. It's about to be brownout central, blackout city. Welcome to the Stone Age. All of the fancy shit that they thought was going to happen is going to be erased like a giant magnet on your CD, period. Now, they may be able to keep that little baby alive deep in the earth in their neural network computer system that is shielded from cosmic rays and EMF. But no one will give a shit about that. The people on the surface are going to want to survive. And anyone that comes up to control us after the event, well, there's simply going to be food or target practice. Hope you got something out of the video. Times are changing. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance during Armageddon. And the time is ticking. Are you with us? Are you against us? Are you going to stare into the square? Or are you going to start preparing for the eventualities that are coming? Learn how to wildcraft. Learn how to wild harvest. Learn how to grow your own food. Buy books and hard copies of things that you can store in case you don't know the answer. Because when the internet shuts down, your stupidity increases tenfold. You know how I know? Well, I've been watching what's happening for over a decade, and it's tragic. Most people don't even know how to fish. Most people don't even know what's edible in the woods. Most people don't know how to hunt. Most people think food comes from a supermarket. These people are going to suffer, starve, and die. Especially when the globalists tell you that everything has to be renewable. No more oil and gas. You will freeze to death in the coming times. The earth is about to get very cold very quick. And prior to that, a bunch of huge catastrophes will befell us. The first will be grid down scenarios, blackouts, brownouts. The sun is already shooting C9s at us 2 years early. Are you getting squirrely? I am. No, I'm not. I'm ready. And I'm ready for it. But most people aren't. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Click one of the boxes showing up around you for more information. Censorship is on. It's only going to get worse. Inauguration Day is coming. 2021 will get you all bumming if you're not prepared. Have a backup generator, backup water source. Please build your library. We love you. Be safe.